Al-Qaeda-affiliated assassins have reportedly gunned down a senior Yemeni intelligence officer in a broad daylight drive-by shooting. The terror network has been increasingly cornered in recent years by both government forces and US drone strikes. Lucy Kafanov reports on how it's forced Al-Qaeda to adapt and evolve its strategy.
It's a bone-chilling video. The man driving this SUV is on a mission to kill. As the truck barrels into an army base in Yemen's Shabwa province, a sickening act of terror is captured on film.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
More than 50 soldiers died that day, but Al-Qaeda went beyond simply claiming responsibility. It released this video showing computer-generated maps, preparation for the attack, an interview with the bomber. It even included English subtitles. An Al-Qaeda leader is then shown chiding a group of captured soldiers.
Do you know that you and the Americans are in the same trench? The American drones are in the sky, and you are on the ground.
Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula was formed in 2009, turning the weak state into a breeding ground for some of the most high-profile plans to attack the United States. In response, a steady barrage of U.S. Hellfire missiles. But the Shabwa attack revealed a group that's still both organized and deadly. The problem with drones, critics say, is that they don't just kill terrorists. An errant strike reportedly hit a wedding party in the central city of Rada. Tribal leaders from the area say mistakes like that help boost Al-Qaeda ranks.
In Rada, the tribes initially united to defend against Al-Qaeda. But then we saw that drone strikes were killing innocent people, which has pushed the tribes to sympathize with the militants and to support them directly.
But the rise of extremist groups here in Yemen is also related to the country's scarce resources, water being a perfect example. Now, in some parts of Yemen, they've been able to come in, improve the infrastructure, as well as resolve disputes over water, fulfilling the function of a state in the state's absence.
Taking advantage of the chaos following the overthrow of Yemen's president, Ali Abdullah Saleh, Al-Qaeda was able to seize large swaths of land in 2011 under the name Ansar al-Sharia. The rebranded Al-Qaeda offshoot fought with more than just guns, aiming to win over locals with basic services. In this propaganda video, the group is shown stringing up power lines in a long-neglected Abyan province. Although Western efforts to crack down on traditional funding sources have been successful, Al-Qaeda has since turned to a different, lucrative trade.
Over the last 2 years, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has extorted some $20 million worth of ransom money, according to some estimates. Kidnapping has become the group's single largest source of funds.
Foreigners can bring in multi-million-dollar ransoms, and in a country where nearly half the population lives below the poverty line, $20 million can go a very long way.
A recruited person is getting maybe in sometimes $100 per day or a few $100 a month. This is more than what any job can provide to any Yemeni citizen. This will be very lucrative business to do, not necessarily because they believe in the ideology or in the objectives of the leaders of these groups, but just it's a business.
An Al-Qaeda campaign for hearts and minds may sound bizarre, but experts warn it's a dangerous tactical shift.
It appears that they have stopped focusing on trying to attack the United States and the West. They're focusing on building their presence in Yemen and establishing their relevance to local communities so that when the US and the Yemeni government go after them, they cannot get rid of them.
Is that more of a danger, you think?
It's a lot more.
Although a government offensive eventually dislodged Ansar al-Sharia from seized land, that doesn't mean the group is on the run. This man spent years as a recruiter and agreed to speak to me on camera without hiding his identity. In fact, he now works as an accountant for the government.
Yemeni youth joined us willingly because they were looking for freedom, justice and the application of Sharia law. They saw that Ansar al-Sharia followed through on promises and was committed to Yemen's future.
A worrying future, if the present is any indication. The group staged a brazen attack on the defense ministry in the heart of Yemen's capital. 56 people dead, more than 160 wounded. It's a bloody reminder that violence remains a key weapon in al-Qaeda's arsenal. Reporting in Yemen for RT, I'm Lucy Kafanov.
Well, Robert Nyman from the campaign group Just Foreign Policy told us he believes the US is unwilling to target prominent al-Qaeda sponsors.
By now, it's a multinational corporation, so it has funding sources from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, but a huge gap in Western policy is the connivance with the funding that comes from the Sunni Gulf Arab countries. This is something that, you look at the Western sanctions on Iran and how tightly they're enforced, and then ask yourself, where are the sanctions on the Al-Qaeda financiers? And then you realize that, well, with the financing that's going to the Sunni jihadists in Syria, this is with the open collaboration of the United States, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and France. So how can they crack down on Al-Qaeda financing